It's been roughly 2 weeks that I have owned the Insta360 X3. And as somebody who has never used a true 360 camera before, I have to say that these first 2 weeks have been quite fun. I really have enjoyed using this camera. The last Insta360 product I owned, or that I own, is the Go-To, and I didn't really appreciate that camera. I didn't understand how to use it very well. I don't think that I tapped its full potential, but in the first 2 weeks of using this camera, I have really enjoyed trying all the different ways that I can film, that I can photograph, trying to explore the different settings within the camera to get the most out of my footage, to see if I can actually make my footage look as good as the promo material that you see from Insta360 and some of the better and bigger creators. And so just for reference, I have been filming in video mode, video HDR mode, time-lapse, time shift, burst mode in photos, single photo, me mode, and star-lapse. Oh yeah, star-lapse. And it's just been a lot of fun to basically, like they say, put the camera out there, film, and then go back and do everything later. And so after 2 weeks of using the X3, I just wanted to share my 5 tips, my 5 tricks, my 5 observations of what it's like using the X3 as a complete beginner in a 360 camera world, and how I think that you will be able to use this camera better. So let's go ahead and start with observation number 1, and I'm going to go ahead and start off on a negative note, I guess. We'll get the bad out of the way, and that's that there is really no way to properly protect the lenses on this camera. A lot of people, David Manning and some others, have talked about that there is no threaded shoe, so to speak. There's no way to screw on a protector for this. Insta360 does make the sticky lens guard, and I used that for a while. I actually ended up taking them off this past weekend and ordered another 2 sets. But the problem is they're made out of plastic and they didn't hold up. I had this camera with those on, sitting in the bottom of a kayak, sitting on my my bathing suit while I was in the kayak, and I even set it down, I think, on a table with those guards, and they got so scuffed that you could really kind of see it in some of the footage. And while I'm appreciative that the lens guard was there, if I'm going to scuff something, I want it to be that sticky lens guard, the outside guard, not the actual tempered glass lens. I don't want to have to already send this off and use my my care package that I have attached to it. But I want those lens guards to be more robust. I would love for them to be able to take a little bit of scuff and not get damaged. And I just would like to be able to put something on there, protect everything, honestly, and just know that I'm not going to have to send this back to get repaired. The number 2 observation for me is probably a bit of a gripe for some. It was a gripe for me with the Go-To, but I'm starting to get into a groove with that. And that is understanding that the workflow has gotten a little different. It has expanded. If you're going to use this camera, it's not as simple as just popping the micro SD card out of the camera, throwing it into your computer, and bringing in the footage straight to your timeline. You do have the plugins with Premiere Pro. I don't know if it works for Final Cut, but you still have to go in and do keyframes. You still have to go in and reposition. You have to tell it whether you want to do linear, zoom in, zoom out, tiny planet, all those different things. But once you understand that and you know what you're trying to do and you start to get in a good groove, it's not so bad. And even as a beginner, you can start to see how it can make you a better creator, because you are starting to have to think, okay, how do I want to frame this? Yes, they say you can just kind of leave it and go, but it's still good to think about, okay, the stitch is at the top here, the stitch is at the bottom. It's still good to aim the camera out. So it's still good to just have that in your mind, that there's going to be a little extra workflow to it. But within that workflow, one of my favorite parts about the added work to this is the fact that, again, it shoots a big 360 sphere when you're in that mode, and you can easily export 16:9, 9:16, square. And it's just really cool to be able to take the exact same footage from the same timeline and with minimal work, with minimal effort, be able to share it across a bunch of different platforms and in different ways, And I find that so cool. I did that with some of them. And it's just really, really awesome to not be limited by setting your camera up to get just vertical, by setting your camera up to just get horizontal, or thinking about, okay, let me zoom way out so that maybe I can crop in a little bit. So 3 and 4 could realistically kind of be lumped together. So maybe I only have 4 observations, but number 3 for me is paying attention to the hidden settings. And for me, that is right out of the box. I put this somewhere and I try to do a time lapse thinking, okay, take it out of the box, turn it on, film, boom. You should be able to go straight away. But I put it somewhere up against the fence to kind of hide it, and I let it go for a time lapse for about 20 minutes. And when I came back, you can see the footage, it jumps. And I'm sure I could spend a lot of time putting keyframes in each and every frame, but that's just too much effort. So I was kind of like, man, this sucks. Do I just have to put this out in the middle of a field for the time lapse to work? What's going on? And then I found a video, and that video said that you really should calibrate the gyro, just like in drones when you do a calibration of the compass, just like with a lot of things, you need to calibrate this every so often. And the time lapses and everything else that I've done since have been buttery smooth. Another of those hidden features I would say is these automatically come set to high sharpness, and I have been told that you want to take that down to medium. And that's one of those complaints that a lot of people have, that they look over processed. You just have to go in, understand the settings, understand the workings of these cameras, and play around with them. So like I said, 3 and 4 could realistically be lumped together under just experiment with the different settings. But number 4 for me is the true experiment with the different settings. And for me, that means going into 360 video and shooting in 5.7K, but then also shooting in 4K at 60 frames per second, because that's better for a little bit of slow-mo than 30 frames. That means going in and finding out, you can do manual settings on this. You can set your own ISO at 50, 100. You can set the shutter speed to be double your frame rate, or you can, go hog wild and change it up depending on how much light you're trying to let in. You can also do Insta360's log format, and I found that absolutely fascinating, that this action camera does have the ability to give me a flatter profile, and it just gives you that much more versatility to get the footage that you're looking for out of your adventures, out of just driving around, whatever it is that you're using these cameras for. So I would say number 4 is get to know your settings and don't be afraid to practice, because there is a great feature that every camera has, and if you get so far down a wormhole that you don't know how to change it, you can always go back to the factory reset. So I'm going to end my 5 observations, 4 if you really want to lump 3 and 4 together. I'm going to end this on a high note. And for me, I've already mentioned it, but it is how absolutely easy it is to use this camera. Look at that. I just turned it on and it is already fired up and pretty much ready to go. And like I said, I used the Go 2 a little bit. I didn't use it quite as much as I probably should have. I didn't give it enough of a chance, but now that I have this, I don't really need the Go 2. But I love how easy this camera is to use. It is so simple, especially with this touchscreen, to go in and change up what mode you want to be in. It is so easy to switch between single lens mode, 360 mode, even within the burst mode. It's so easy to set a timer. I personally do not like having to use an app on a phone to use a camera. I had to do that with the GoPro for the longest time. It's another thing that you have to worry about. Am I going to lose? Am I going to break my camera phone? Is something going to happen to where I dropped this because I was trying to focus on that? And I just want there to be less things for me to have to carry. So if I can get rid of the phone and use just the camera, that is that much better for me. And I love how user-friendly, how easy this camera really has been to learn, to explore, and to use. Now, granted, there are some reasons to have the app. To use the Star Lapse feature to its highest potential, it is good to have your phone, because as far as I can tell so far, that is the only way to export that footage. I haven't been able to do it on the desktop. I had to do it on the phone, but that's okay. I don't mind adding that little wrinkle back in. So after 2 weeks, I'm still by no stretch of the imagination an expert at this camera. There is so much for me to still learn. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the best quality of footage out of this thing. Footage like you see Insta360 share on their social media pages and in their commercials. Still working on that, but it has been a lot of fun to explore this camera, to try different settings. And so to get better at extracting the kind of footage that I want from this, the only real way to do that is to practice. So there you have it. After 2 weeks of using the Insta360 X3, those are my thoughts, my observations, my insights into just how easy it is to use this camera, and to kind of maybe some things to think about before you jump off the cliff, so to speak, to buy this camera. But as a beginner, I have really enjoyed using this camera. It is so easy to use as a beginner, and yet there's still so much that I have yet to unlock inside of it. But I am really excited to spend the next 365 days trying different things with it, trying to learn more about it, and seeing what I'm able to create. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit the like button. If you don't already, hit subscribe, and I will catch you in another video down the road.